He has been telling people, not whispering, not carefully, selectively, only to the one or two people he trusts most with the interior of his life. Telling people, multiple people, in multiple conversations across multiple contexts, with the specific, consistent, not even slightly embarrassed quality of someone who has arrived at a certainty and sees no compelling reason to keep that certainty private. You are the girl he is going to marry. He has said this out loud in rooms you were not in, to people who know him and to people who barely know him, and to at least one person who probably did not expect that level of declaration from a conversation that began as something else entirely. He has said it with the calm conviction of someone stating a fact about the future that he considers as settled as a fact about the present. Not I think, not I hope, not she might be the one in the careful, conditional, covering all bases language that people use when they want to express something significant without fully committing to the significance. The girl he is going to marry. Present, continuous, active, decided. The only person who does not yet know he has been saying, "This is you." Let me tell you in which rooms this has been said. Not to create drama, to give you the full picture of how consistently and how widely this has been stated, because the consistency matters. This is not something he said once in an unguarded moment and has since softened or qualified or walked back. It has been said multiple times in multiple configurations of people, and it has been said the same way every time. He said it to a colleague in the context of a professional conversation that found its way as conversations between people who know each other find their way to the personal. The colleague asked about his life or about what was occupying his attention, and he answered in a way that included you without self consciousness, without the careful navigation of how much to reveal that most people perform in professional contexts. He simply told the truth of what was most present in his life, and you were the most present thing. He said it to a close friend, someone with enough access to the real interior of his life to receive something this significant without the information requiring extensive context. This friend responded with a kind of quiet, serious attention that the declaration warranted, asked questions, not challenges, questions from someone who was genuinely trying to understand something that had clearly reached a level of importance that this man's certainties always eventually reach. He said it to someone in his family. That one landed differently, because saying something to the people who have known you longest carries a different weight than saying it to peers. It carries the weight of being held permanently, of becoming part of the story that the people who love you carry about you and your life. He said it knowing that, knowing what he was doing, he said it anyway, not impulsively, because it was true and he was done keeping it in the private space of his own certainty. Let me tell you who this man is before I tell you anything else about what he has been saying and where he has been saying it. He has a specific quality that comes from having built something, not inherited something, built it. Through the particular combination of vision and discipline and the willingness to be uncomfortable for extended periods in the service of something he could see clearly that others could not yet see. Through the patience of someone who understands that the things worth having take longer than the things that are not, and who has made peace with that timeline without losing the urgency that keeps the building moving. He is not showy with what he has. That is the first thing you would notice about him if you were watching from the outside with no prior knowledge of his position. The money does not announce itself. It is present in the quality of things rather than in the quantity of things, in the specific ease of someone who does not have to calculate before they decide, in the unhurried quality of a person whose material security is so settled that it has become invisible to them the way oxygen is invisible present, taken for granted, not a subject of anxiety. What he does announce is his attention, and his attention, when it is fully engaged, has a quality that the people who have been on the receiving end of it tend to remember. Not aggressive or overwhelming, focused in the specific, active, genuinely interested way of someone who has learned through the practice of building things that understanding what you are looking at is the first requirement of everything that comes after. He understands what he is looking at when he looks at you. That understanding is what produced the declaration. Let me trace back to when it started. So, not the first time he saw you, the first time he understood what he was seeing is a different moment and the more significant one. There was a conversation at some point in whatever context your paths have shared or currently share. There was a conversation that did something different from the conversations that preceded it. Something that was not primarily about the exchange of information, but about the quality of mind doing the exchanging, where what he encountered was not simply an attractive person with pleasant things to say, but a specific, particular, unrepeatable intelligence engaging with something he cared about in a way that he did not expect and had not encountered before in quite this form. He adjusted, not his opinion of you that was already forming in a direction he had not yet named, his understanding of the category he had placed you in, because the category had been too small. Whatever initial impression had been operating as the framework for how he understood you and what to expect from you, the conversation exceeded it, required a larger container, required him to look again, more carefully, at something he had perhaps been looking at without fully seeing. He looked again, and what he saw in the looking again is what has produced everything since. Here is what he tells people. I am going to be specific because the specific is what the title promises, and the specific is what came through when I sat with this energy, and vague is not going to serve you here. He tells people that she is different, not better looking than others, or more successful, or any of the comparative metrics that men who have access to many options tend to use when they are describing why one person in particular has captured their attention. Different in kind. Different in the way that something that is genuinely new is different from things you have encountered before. Not superior on a shared scale, but operating on a different scale entirely. A different frequency that, once you have received it, makes everything on the previous frequency feel like it was always missing something without the missing having had a name until now. He tells people that being around her is the easiest thing he does. This one lands differently than the first when the people he says it to hear it, because this man who is known for his precision and his standards and the specific, slightly exhausting quality of his own discernment does not describe things as easy. Difficult, interesting, worth it, complex, requiring navigation, these are his registers. Easy is not in his vocabulary for things he values. And yet, he uses it about you, not without thinking. He has thought about it. It is the word that keeps arriving when he tries to find the accurate description of what your presence does to his interior. The specific, paradoxical ease of being with someone who is themselves not simple, who has depth and precision and a quality of seeing that matches his own and does not require him to reduce himself in order to be received. Being fully himself around you costs nothing, requires no performance, produces no friction. Easy, the highest compliment he knows how to give. He has given it to the people who asked about you. And then there is the third thing he tells people. He tells them he is going to marry her, not as a romantic declaration, not delivered with a soft voice and a significant pause, stated the way he states the conclusion of something he has already finished working out in his own mind. The way a person who builds things talks about what they are going to build next with the specific practical certainty of someone who has looked at the project, assessed the requirements, understood what it will take, and decided that it is worth everything it will require. He has decided you are worth everything it will require. He has said so to the people in his life repeatedly. And let me speak to the people who have been receiving these declarations because they are not a neutral audience, and their response to what he has been saying matters to this reading. Some of them are surprised. This is a man who does not speak carelessly about the future, who does not make declarations he has not fully meant in any domain of his life, because his relationship with his own word is one of the things he takes most seriously. The people who know him well know this. They know that when he says something will happen, the category of things that prevents it from happening is not disinterest or changed feeling. It is circumstance, external obstacle, something outside his intention rather than something inside it. So when he says you are the girl he is going to marry, the people who know him hear it differently than they would hear the same words from someone else. They hear, I have decided. And the people who know him understand what that means. Some of them are curious about you in a way they were not before he started saying it. They are now in possession of his certainty, and they want to understand what produced it, what you are that made this particular man arrive at this particular conclusion with this particular ease. Some of them have found ways to observe you themselves. Some of them have asked questions about you with the slightly too interested quality of people who are vetting something on behalf of someone they care about. You may have felt eyes on you from unfamiliar directions recently. Those are his people, confirming what he already knows. Let me speak to what happens in him when you are in the same space, because I want to give you the interior picture of this man in the specific context of your presence, not just the picture of what he has been saying about you in your absence. He becomes deliberate, not nervous. The nervousness dissolved some time ago into something else, something more settled, something that has the quality of certainty rather than the quality of hope. But deliberate in the specific way of someone who is in the presence of something they value at the highest level and who treats that presence accordingly, with attention, with intention, with the specific, unhurried quality of someone who is not racing towards something because they have already decided the something is theirs, and the only question is how to honor that. He watches you when you do not know he is watching. Not covertly, not in a way that would be uncomfortable to discover. In the open, unguarded way of someone who has moved past the stage of managing how much they are affected and arrived at the stage of simply being affected without apology. He looks at you the way people look at things they have decided to keep, with a quality of possession that is not controlling and not diminishing, but simply the natural gaze of someone who has located what they want and is no longer in the searching part of the story. He is in the having found part. Even if you have not yet been formally asked, the question of the asking, because the declaration is not the asking, he knows that. The people he has told know that. The telling is internal to his world. It is the communication of a decision made rather than the formal offer that produces a shared decision. The offer has not yet been made. But let me tell you about the offer, where it is in his planning and what it is waiting for. It is not waiting for certainty, he has certainty. It is not waiting for the right feeling. The feeling has not been the question for a while. What it is waiting for is the right form. The specific, considered, this reflects what I actually mean form that his own standards require for something of this significance. He is a person who understands that the manner of important things matters, that how you do something significant is part of the significance. And the how for the offer that formalizes what he has already told everyone he has decided is something he is still working out, not from uncertainty, from the same precision he brings to everything he builds. He wants it to be right, not impressive, right? There is a difference that he understands clearly and that you would understand if you could see what he is planning and why he is planning it the way he is. Right is coming. I need to say something directly to you now, Virgo. Not about him, about you in relation to what I have just delivered. This is real. I say that not to create urgency or to pressure you toward a feeling you are not yet at, or to suggest that the appropriate response to this information is some form of immediate action. I say it because I feel in your energy the specific quality of someone who has been receiving signals from this direction and has been telling themselves in the careful, protective way that Virgos tell themselves things when they are trying not to want something too much, that the signals are probably something less than what they appear to be. They are not less. The man who has been telling everyone you are the girl he is going to marry is not a man whose declarations are casual. You are not in his vocabulary as a passing thing. You are in his vocabulary as the conclusion of a process he takes seriously and does not reverse. The protection you have been applying to your own wanting in this direction is understandable. It is intelligent. It is the product of a person who has learned that wanting something clearly and being wrong about whether it is real costs something significant. But the protection is not serving you anymore. What is real, and you are allowed to let it be real. There are people who already know what I have told you today. People in his world who have been holding this information, who were present when he said it, who have been sitting with the knowledge of what he declared, who have perhaps been watching the situation from their position on the outside and wondering when you would know what they know. Some of them are going to reach you not because they were sent, but because information of this quality, held by people who also care about the outcome of the situation it describes, has a natural gravity toward the person it most concerns. Someone is going to say something to you in some form through some channel that lets you know explicitly or through clear implication that what he has been saying about you has been said widely enough that it is no longer only inside his world. When that reaches you, let it. Do not immediately route it through the Virgo system of careful analysis before feeling. Feel it first. Let the full weight of what it means to be someone's decided upon thing, not hoped for, not aimed at, decided land in you before you start examining it. The examining can come after. The feeling deserves to come first. One last thing. He does not tell people this because he needs to hear himself say it. This man does not have that relationship with speech. He is not the kind of person who says things out loud in order to make them feel more real or to recruit external validation for internal uncertainty. He tells people because it is true, because in his interior, where the decision was made and where it lives with the specific, settled weight of things he is fully committed to, keeping it private has started to feel like suppressing a fact, like not mentioning something that is simply clearly in his experience the case. You are the girl he is going to marry. In his mind, this is already done. The formality of the asking is the last remaining distance between the decided and the official. And the distance from where he is standing does not feel very long.